breakups are never a pretty thing, but the one between Colorado and Cormani McClain just got a whole lot worse.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you may get your podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in and making me your first listen of the day. Don't mind the sunburn. Don't mind the episode on the Lord's Day. There's a lot happening in and around college football, specifically in the neck of the woods of Boulder. So I had to hop on and I had to address the noise because obviously I'm sure you guys have seen the video or seen the clip. But Cormani McClain just unloaded a major shot, arguably the biggest shot we've seen at Deion Sanders in Colorado in the entire Deion Sanders era. And you're probably like, okay, how's that possible? Well, most coaches and most of the shots that have been at Deion Sanders in Colorado have been about the way he builds his team. People don't think it's going to work. It is what it is. That's their opinion. Cormani McClain was in the program for a year, and he basically took a shot at the program, the coaching, and everything imaginable that is associated with Colorado, their motivation, their obsession with clicks or playing for clicks. And so and I'll just read you the comment. I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to get copyrighted or anything, but he, in a video that was released today or made its rounds today, said he wants to change the narrative of everyone. He said, I want to change the narrative of everyone's thinking on my name, be part of a real and great program that's going to impact me and my best ability, and ready to get a new place and get to work. I feel like I just don't want to play for clicks. And then he said, I actually want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. Yikes. Okay, so let's dive in there. First of all, let's address the comments. Realistically, did he need to say this? Probably not. But obviously, he wanted to get some things off his chest because I think in the breakup, and whether people want to admit it or not, every breakup, there's technically, in the eyes of someone else or someone within the relationship, there's considered a winner of the breakup. And when Cormani McClain left Colorado in the portal this past week, it was looking like he was the biggest loser of the breakup. I'm not calling him a loser, but in the sense of like winner or loser of the breakup, because he was the one where it's like, okay, his career's in jeopardy. He couldn't make it work with an NFL Hall of Famer. He couldn't make it work with secondaries coach this season, Robert Livingston, who has, I think, like a dozen years of NFL experience. A lot of this was coming on Cormani McClain. His high school coach was quoted in an article saying, I'm not surprised that he entered the portal. He basically, and this is me paraphrasing, was saying that Cormani was had a lot of growing up to do. I think it was one of those things where he wasn't ready for all the responsibilities that came with being a high school recruit. So let's just call it what it is. But realistically, a lot was going wrong for Cormani McClain. His name was, I guess you could say, getting dragged through the mud. It obviously didn't help of what happened in Boulder, but I think he wanted to get kind of his swing in. I think he wanted to get his opinion out there. Like, hey, this isn't all my fault. And obviously we don't know everything that went on behind closed doors, but here's what we do know. And I broke this down the other day when I explained why it didn't work out in Colorado. Cormani McClain, I don't know if his heart was ever in Colorado. I want to say his recruitment, and I had John Garcia Jr. from Rivals, my former co-host, on the show the day, I think it was the day of or the day after Cormani entered the portal. And we talked about his recruitment was weird. It was wacky AF. He took a random visit to BYU. He was expected by everyone to go to Florida. There was nobody from the Miami media covering his signing day because everyone was like, oh, he's going to Florida. He's a Gator. And then all of a sudden he flips to Miami. And it's like, okay, Lakeland product, Miami, staying in Florida, whatever kind of happens. There's flips here and there. But then when he was supposed to sign with Miami, he ghosted. He was late. And then all of a sudden, before the cameras were even on, he's like, yeah, I'm going to Colorado to play for Deion Sanders. And everyone was like, whoa, where'd this come from? And obviously Deion Sanders, Charles Kelly at the time, the former defense coordinator, they got in the mix. They got in his ear and were like, hey, come over here. We'll develop you. You can play for us. We have a lot of experience. Obviously, Charles Kelly had coached a lot of great secondaries at Alabama. Obviously, Deion Sanders is the best corner of all time. What better duo to learn from? And then he gets to Boulder, but he didn't get there right away. He was kind of late. And then when he came, he wasn't in football shape. And then it was a couple games and he wasn't really playing. And I think it was right after the third game around there, there was questions about Cormani McClain and what he needs to do to play. And Deion Sanders absolutely ripped him. Like I don't think Deion Sanders has ripped anyone that hard since. Like I think the only person he probably publicly criticized like that what would be his sons, honestly. I don't know. He just went in and he was like, you know what? It'd be nice if he showed up to the meetings. It'd be nice if he was watching film. He's like, I could see who's watching film. Obviously, their tablets are all linked to the whatever cloud. I don't understand technology in that sense, but either way, Coach Prime can see who's watching film, how much film they're watching, what film they're watching, whatever it may be. They're all linked. And he could see that Cormani McClain was not putting in the work. And so he publicly called him out. And then Cormani, when he did play, less than stellar. I think his coverage grade was in the 50s, according to PFF. He just really wasn't living up to his 5-star billing. Now, it's unfair for people to say he should be a star right away. Just because you're a 5-star doesn't mean you're ready to be a contributor. Doesn't mean you're ready to be a college football star right away. Not everyone is Caleb Downs. Not everyone is Trevor Lawrence or Caleb Williams, but even those two guys didn't start right away. But to be a 5-star and make an immediate impact right away, it takes a different breed. And it's okay that not everyone is like that. But a lot of guys who aren't like that, or a lot of guys who end up becoming like that, they have the work ethic. They have the mentality of like, I want to be a star. I want to take it to the next level. And I think what I've gathered from talking to people around the team, talking to people around the program, talking to other people that cover the program as well as I do, there's kind of a notion that Cormani McClain wasn't always, I don't know how to say this he wasn't always putting in the necessary efforts. His mindset wasn't there. And realistically, it just wasn't a fit. And I think it's okay that it wasn't a fit. But now that he's out here taking shots at the program, it's a little peculiar because now I think he's subjecting himself to more criticism. I think a lot more people are going to come at him. And I just don't think this needed to be said. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm glad like you got that off your chest. But now you basically just turned all of these people onto you. Like these people are like, okay, so now he wants to go to a program where it's not Deion Sanders, where it's not Colorado. And I mean, more power to him. I hope he finds a good landing spot. I know there's a lot of powerhouse programs, Texas, USC, Auburn was in the mix. I know USF and UCF are also programs that could be in the mix for him. But I do think he's coming with some baggage. I do think this was a reality check for him. And whether people want to admit it or not, this is kind of a reality check for Coach Prime in a sense, because obviously we don't know. Again, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but we do know that Coach Prime was trying his best to work with Cormani, and maybe it just didn't work out. So maybe he needs to adjust how he focuses on certain players, and maybe he needs to adjust the players that he's bringing in. Like maybe he needs to kind of figure out if he's putting in all of the necessary background checks on these guys, where it's like, is he a good teammate? Is he a passionate player? Is he a guy that values the team more than himself? Is he the guy that is going to, I don't know, take those extra reps anytime he could get them? Is he the guy that's going to be watching game film relentlessly to the point where it's like, hey, dude, relax, give the eyes a break? Is he the guy that's going to be in the practice facility all the time to the point where they're like, okay, you have to go home? And I think Coach Prime may have to reevaluate the types of guys he brings in. I think Cormani McClain, for as talented as he was, don't know if he always had the mindset or the willingness to kind of live up to that billing. But I think Coach Prime kind of responded in an odd way on social media, not an odd way in his sense, but he got cryptic, as one does. He said, I got receipts on top of receipts to validate the secrets that you keep. And this isn't at anyone, but the timing of this makes me think that it may have something to do with this. You guys comment below what you think. But he said, I got receipts on top of receipts to validate the secrets that you keep. And then he said, he tagged Well-Off Media and Deion Sanders Jr. He says, dropping soon. And so is he saying that there's certain things that they probably, my interpretation of this, I'll just put it this way, is that there's things happening within those walls where they never made it onto those Well-Off Media YouTube videos, and there's probably a good reason why they didn't, and it probably would not it would probably not fare well, for one Mr. Cormani McClain, if I'm correct, because I do think that there's probably a lot of footage out there where it's like the coaches are yelling at him. The coaches are constantly getting on him, because even in spring practices or drills, there's guys yelling at him like, you're supposed to be the 5-star guy. You're supposed to be the next Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is right there. Do everything he does and you will be great. And clearly that message didn't make it through. In one ear, out the other. It happens. And I think Cormani McClain has a talent to succeed wherever he goes. It's more so the mental aspect that could be hindering him from getting into the position he needs to succeed. And that's okay. Just a second, I need to sneeze. Maybe not. That sneeze has been fighting its way this whole time. I apologize. So if I mute, it's because I have to sneeze. Okay, I'm going to look at a couple of comments here. Why is it okay for Coach Prime to throw players under the bus, but the players can't respectfully defend their name? See, I don't think that was respectfully. I think that was a shot. I think he knew what he was doing. It felt calculated. It felt like, hey, I'm taking a lot of heat. So, finally, thank you. Thank you for all the people blessing me in the comments. I needed that. That sneeze was killing me. But for the question that asked, why can't a player respectfully defend his name? I think a player can respectfully defend his name. I think the respectful way, if I were Cormani McClain, if I wanted to say something, I'd be like, you know what? I didn't make the right decision in picking my college. I thought I was making the best decision for me, and it didn't work out. I didn't put in the work necessary, and things just didn't click for me. Saying that they're playing for clicks, saying that they don't develop, basically saying that everything about the program is not good, not ideal. I would say that's kind of a shot fired at the coach and the program. For those of you who just hopped in, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, making Locked On Buffs your listen on this fine Sunday afternoon, Lord's Day. We all appreciate it. I'm going to tell you guys, I'll read the quote again, and then I'll give you guys my take just in case you missed it in the live. But Cormani McClain on a video today said he's talking about what he wants to do. He said, change the narrative of everyone's thinking on my name. Be part of a real and great program that's going to impact me and my best ability, and ready to get to a new place and get to work. I feel like I just don't want to play for clicks. This is what he said. I actually want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. So he's saying that Colorado's playing for clicks, meaning they're not focused on football. They're focused on other things, which I think Colorado uses their brand. They maximize their brand potential to the best of their ability. Do they play for clicks? I don't know. Does any team, if you're going to pull the play for clicks thing, tell every team across college football to delete their social media accounts, then we'll go from there. The playing for clicks thing is weird, but he says he wants a team where that's going to impact him and his best ability. So they're not getting the most out of him. And then he says he wants to be involved with a great program and a leading program that's going to develop players. So clearly he's questioning the leadership, which is Coach Prime, possibly leaders on the team. And he's also doesn't feel like they're getting the most out of his skill set. So realistically, Cormani is out at Colorado. I don't think this comment was necessary for him. I think this was him kind of defending himself and getting one off his chest. And realistically, good on him if that's what he felt like he needed to do. But I don't think that was the right move for this situation. I think realistically kind of should have just left it as it is, worked in silence, move like the G in lasagna, move silently. And then when you pop off elsewhere, be like, see, it wasn't me. I wasn't the problem. Excuse me. I think that's what I would have tried to do. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. Yeah, I know and the thing that's ironic to me, and someone brought this up in the comments, he says that Colorado's playing for clicks. This video was made for clicks. This video, I think, is on his YouTube, and I'm sure he's monetizing that. So it's really an interesting scenario. The breakup got really ugly. I do think that in a perfect world, everyone would just go their separate ways. It'd be an amicable breakup, and we'd just be like, you know what? Didn't work out for us. Didn't work out for you. Wish you the best. Handshake, and we'll see you when we see you. That's not how it worked out, but either way, we're going to see how it works out for everyone involved. When we come back from the break, Colorado is making moves in the portal, one of which is to replace him and add more depth in the trenches. Everywhere else, I'm going to talk about that, but first, a quick word from our sponsors. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at LinkedIn. Where you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the job. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job that might be open to the perfect role in a given month. Over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're on the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and the NHL, and baseball's in full swing. And FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. I would take a look at the Celtics. I think they have an easy route to the NBA Finals. Go check out their route to the Finals. Get back to me. Let me know what you think. That's where I would possibly look. Either way, go check it out. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs, making me your first listen of the day. I know it's an impromptu Sunday episode. I greatly appreciate all the support that you guys give me. If you guys missed it, this episode will be going up. I talked about the Cormani McClain saga. I think the breakup's getting ugly. Don't think it really needed to. I think he kind of made it uglier than it needed to be by releasing that video, by kind of taking a shot at Coach Prime. If you're Coach Prime, I think you just take the high road. I think you produce guys who you put in DJ McKinney, who started a ton of games for Oklahoma State, Big 12 caliber guy, and then you go out and get more talent at that position. But let's talk about the portal moves. Let's digress. Let's discuss. Let's everybody calm down. Let's talk about the portal moves, because I think we're all going to get worked up about Cormani McClain. He's a young guy trying to understand this thing we call life. And as we all know, when we're young, it could be difficult to make the best decisions for us, whether it's going to school, whether it's taking the right job, whatever it may be. Either way, it's gonna solve itself. Everyone will figure it out for themselves. Colorado, they've landed multiple transfers over the weekend. Earlier this morning, Sunday. It's today's Sunday. They landed a commitment from Deion Hayes, the Pittsburgh defensive end. So they went to Pitt and grabbed their other defensive end. They got Samuel O already, who had 5 sacks, and then they went and got the guy who led Pitt in tackles for a loss this past season with 10.5. He had 45 total tackles, 4 sacks, 6 quarterback hurries, 6'3", 265 pounds, a senior. He's experienced. Played the past 4 seasons at Pitt, signed with the team out of high school. Obviously, when you look at this Colorado defensive line now, they have Samuel O, who I already talked about, on the other edge. They have Alabama's Anquin Barnes, 6'5", 315 pounds. Dude's a monster. They have former 4-star Quincy Wiggins. They have BJ Green, who was second-team All-Pac-12. They have Torian Carter, who played quite a bit at Arkansas. They have Keaton Wade from Kentucky. They have so many guys. Chidozie Nwanku, the block bully. The dude's a bully in the trenches. They are getting a ton of depth across the defense line. And I don't think they're done. They had, I think it was 7, 8-ish visitors this past weekend, and they tweeted quite a few eye emojis, which for Colorado, if you guys aren't familiar, their staff tweet the eyeball emojis, and that typically means they got commitments. So I expect more commitments to flood in. I know Dallin Hayden is a guy that they really want. I know that there's other tons of skill position guys that they want, but let's focus on the commitment they just landed right before I went live. They went and landed another offensive lineman, and I really like this move because honestly, from what I've been gathering, from what I've been talking to people around the program, people around who cover the team as well, the offensive line is not solidified yet. I would say Jordan Seaton, Justin Mayers, those spots are taken. The other 3 jobs up for grabs. Tyler Brown is in the mix. They have the Houston transfer, Tyler Johnson. He's in the mix. They have so many guys that are in the mix. And it's one of those things where it's like the more depth, the better. They're probably going to lose a guy or two because that's just how it works out. You can never be too sure that everyone's going to stick around. Obviously, they've lost a couple transfers already. Phillip Houston's going to be in the mix. They have so many guys that they brought in, and they're bringing in more. And this guy is a monster. Plus, he's not a rental. 6'6", 366 pounds. Peyton Kirkland out of Orlando, Florida, spent this past season at Texas. Texas had a really good offense line. Didn't see a lot of playing time. I don't think he played, but that's okay. He's young. He's going to get developed by Phil Lodeholt. This is the type of guy that Colorado needs. They need guys that are going to be here for multiple years. They need guys that aren't going to be rentals. Obviously, some of these guys have multiple years of eligibility, but these guys that sometimes have it doesn't mean they're going to use it. So having a guy that you know for sure is going to be with the program, assuming he stays, for at least 2 years. So huge get for Colorado. They go to both sides of the trenches and they are making monster moves. They also may have a chance with a corner by the name of Kobe Bryant. And I'm not joking. He is literally, that is his name, Kansas corner. And he was quite productive this past season. He is 6 foot even, 6 foot flat, 175 pounds. This past season, he recorded 32 total tackles. He had a forced fumble, and he also had 4 interceptions. He has 6 career interceptions. They need another corner. I think that's where they turn. I saw one of the questions in the comment section was like, who's going to replace Cormani? Well, they have DJ McKinney. He's probably going to start anyway. They have Preston Hodge, who I think is going to be a really, really good player for them. They have Omarion Cooper, who could play corner. They have so many guys. Carter Stottmeyer could play corner. They have so many corners. But I do think that if they get Kobe Bryant, I think that'd be a really good addition. I think he could come in, provide some depth, possibly push for a starting role, and the secondary, it will be clicking. The secondary will be working on all cylinders, and it is going to be a much better unit than what we saw last year, which the unit wasn't bad last year, but they had some flaws. They had some issues. I think it's going to be a really good group this year. I think the offense line is going to be better. I think they're going to get some running backs, which I told you guys Colorado needed running backs. You guys always got upset with me, and I was like, they need them. They need them. So they're getting some big bodies. They're getting some big names, and Colorado is making some moves. Before I go, I'm going to scroll through the comments real quick and address anything that I find fit that I think we need to address again. Let's see. Well, this one comment says there's nothing wrong with what he said, talking about Cormani. Very well spoken. He knows better than fans whether they are developing or not. I mean, Cormani McClain could feel however he wants to feel. I'm not trying to discredit his feelings. If he doesn't feel like he was getting developed in Boulder, then that's his feeling. But is it necessary to say that after the fact? I don't know. I would say no. I think that's like when you break up with your significant other and, everyone is talking about the breakup and you throw in a subtweet and you're like, by the way, your cooking sucked. Or by the way, your family was annoying, whatever it may be. Like, it wasn't necessary is all I'm saying. Let's see what else, anything else in the comments section. Yeah, they're making some big additions right now as we speak. There was like 8 or 9. Yeah. Kirkland is 6'6", 350 pounds. Dude's a monster. They are making some big additions. They tweeted 9 emojis, which means that there's probably 9 commits coming. There's probably more. I know they had the Charlotte linebacker, former Michigan, the former Michigan player, former Charlotte transfer. He was on campus. I know they had a ton of visitors. I could pull up the visitor list right now just to confirm, because there's a lot of guys out there. They had a lot of guys visiting, and I think it was a huge weekend for them. And I think their spring game coming up is going to be another huge weekend for them. They had over this past weekend, I'm trying to find the list. I had a running list and I can't find it now, which is super annoying. But they had Deion Hayes. He was visiting. He went to USC before he went to Colorado. Picked Colorado over USC. Like, things are changing in Boulder. They are getting some dogs. They are getting some big names. So it is one of those things where if you're not on the hype train now, hop on before it's too late, because the Buffs are making moves in the portal. How many commits did we get in this April transfer window? At right now, 2. The portal's been open for a week. Which means obviously there's a lot more time to go. It's obviously a crazy time for Colorado. You guys comment any questions you want me to answer before I end this episode. Because I want to hear what you guys have to say. I know you guys have a lot of things to ask. I know you guys have a lot of things to discuss, and I wouldn't want you guys to feel like I didn't address your questions. So any questions? Penny Boone, running back. He's a guy that they were trying to get as well. That's a good mention in the comment section. Like they landed Charlie Williams, a UNLV tight end. They obviously are making these darn moves. Coach Prime is at the forefront. I think it's unfortunate how the Cormani McClain situation went. Let's see. Kevin, with the new pickups, how many wins this season? I was steady at 6 or 7. I think if they make a few more, they're going to be borderline 8, 9. I think realistically, if they continue to bolster the trenches, they get better at running back, they improve the secondary, there's not a doubt in my mind that they can win 8 or 9 games. I think their schedule sets them up to start off strong before they have to play all of the difficult teams in the Big 12. So I think if they continue on this sort of upward trend of adding talent, I think that this is going to be a really big year. Now, if it doesn't work out, that means something went horribly wrong. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'll keep you guys updated as I do every day. If you're new to the show, make sure to like, subscribe, follow. I have episodes every single weekday. If something crazy like today happens, I will put an episode. You guys won't want to miss it. Got some really cool guests coming up. I'll have some cool spring content coming up with Scott Proctor and all those guys over there in Boulder. So it'll be really fun. I appreciate all the support. This is the biggest live I've ever had in my season and a half-ish of covering Colorado. Really appreciate you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow on Monday. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Before I go, who are the difficult teams of the Big 12? Utah, Arizona, Kansas State, Texas Tech. Those are some very tough teams. Utah realistically is hoping for the playoff. Kansas State is going to be a top 25 team. Texas Tech is a team that they were kind of a dark horse team last year that didn't live up to expectations. So they're trying to get back there. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, follow, all that jazz. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. I will see you guys tomorrow. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.